Hey, what's up everybody? Clifton here with CliftonWP. Welcome back to the channel. In this tutorial, you're going to be learning how to customize a Kadence Starter template so that it looks like a original piece of work for you or for your client. Now, starter templates make excellent starting points for building out websites. I know a lot of us pride ourselves on building websites from scratch. However, the beauty of having a starter template is that it saves you a lot of time. It provides some additional framework for you, and sometimes it can work like a wireframe if you pick out the right starter template. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting with a starter template. What I want to show you in this tutorial are just a few core foundational principles that you can apply to any starter template to make it look amazing and no longer like a starter template by the time you're done. So if you guys are ready to learn how to build out a website using a Kadence Starter template and customizing it so that it no longer looks like a starter template, but your own original piece of work, then let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so here we are with a fresh install of WordPress, and what you're looking at is the default 2023 theme. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and install the Kadence theme, Kadence blocks, and the Kadence Starter templates. To do that, you want to go to your dashboard by moving to the top left and hovering over the title of your theme in the WP admin toolbar. Click on Dashboard, and then you're going to go to Appearance in the left-hand menu and select Themes. In the next page, go ahead and click on Add New. And here you'll see the themes in the WordPress repository. You should see the Kadence theme because the popular themes typically show up on the first page. And here's the Kadence theme right here. But in the event that you're not seeing it here, you can go ahead and do a search for Kadence, and you'll see the Kadence theme right over here. Click on Install and Activate. All right, so now we have our theme installed. If we look at the front end of the website, we'll now see that the default Kadence theme is installed. Next, we're going to go ahead and install Kadence blocks. So let's go back to the dashboard by going to the top left, hovering over the title of our website in the WP admin toolbar. Click on Dashboard. And then we're going to go to Plugins. Click on Add New. And we're going to just search for Kadence blocks. You'll see the Gutenberg blocks by Kadence plugin. Click on Install Now and Activate. All right, so now we have Kadence blocks installed, which will allow us to be able to build out and customize our starter templates or customize our WordPress pages. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the Kadence Starter templates. To do that, I'm going to click on Add New under the Plugins tab, and we're going to do a search for Kadence Starter templates. And here you'll have your starter templates by Kadence WP. Go ahead and click on Install Now and Activate. Okay, so to recap, we've installed the theme, and now we have the Kadence blocks and the Kadence Starter templates installed. Once you've installed this, you'll now be able to see the templates that are available to you. You can click on View the Template Library from the Plugins page, or you can go to Appearance, hover over Kadence, and you'll see the Starter Template submenu. If you click on that, that'll take you to all the starter templates that are available to you to install in your website. Just make sure that you have the Gutenberg option toggled on here because we're going to be using Kadence blocks to customize these templates. Okay, so before we install our starter template, let's just go ahead and look at a very simplified process for building out our website. Okay, so if I go over here to my whiteboard, you'll see that there are actually 3 simple steps that you follow whenever you're building out any website. The first step is creating your content. So you will want to have content for every page of your website because that content is going to dictate the layout of that page. The next step is typically going to be wireframing. This is where you create a simplified version of the website. It doesn't have any design or any colors to it. It's just a layout with how that page is going to implement the content that you've created. Now this step, which is the second step, instead of wireframing, what we're going to do is we're going to be selecting a starter template, and we're going to be looking for a starter template that closely matches how our content is going to be laid out. Okay. Then the next step is design, and in the design, this is where you're actually going to turn that wireframe into a nice and beautiful design. In the case of this tutorial, we're going to be using a starter template which already has a design. So what we're really going to be doing is customizing that starter template so that it flows with our content and no longer looks like a starter template, but at least gives us a great starting point and a framework for us to go ahead and build out a nice designed website. Okay, so the next step in our process is basically selecting a starter template. So we're assuming that we have our content in place, and now we need to select a starter template to be able to apply our content to and customize. Now, what I want to do in this section here is, because we have pro and free templates available, we're going to use a free template. That way, anyone who's using a free version of Kadence can also follow along with this tutorial. But the same principles apply. It doesn't matter if you're using a pro template or a free one. I'm just going to share with you what to be thinking about when you're selecting your starter template. The first thing you want to think about is, what kind of website are you building? Are you building a website for a small business? Are you building a course website? Are you building a website for e-commerce? It all depends on what it is that you're building. And if you look at the filter over here, you'll see that there are different categories of templates that you can select. So you have course templates, event templates, business templates, photography, e-commerce, nonprofit, blog, political, and membership. So depending on the one that you're looking for, okay, you can select the appropriate starter template for that. Okay. So in our case though, I'm going to use something that's typically widely used, and that's going to be the business templates. Okay, so the business templates just basically means that you're building for a small business, and it typically won't have too varied of a functionality. Maybe some e-commerce would be in there, but most of the time it's pretty straightforward. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to further filter this to be the free only themes. Okay, so here we are. All right, so now you'll see here that we have starter templates that will typically apply to some kind of a business. All right, in this case, let's just take a look at the first one, which is this cleaning service template. And when you select a template, what you're looking for are a few core things. One, you want to look for something that has a nice hero section. This first section that you see over here, this is the hero section. And this has a 2-column hero section with some text on the left and an image on the right. Okay, now the purpose of your hero section is to go ahead and convey to the site visitor what it is that you do and what kind of transformation you're going to be offering. Okay, this is going to be the first part of your website that they see after the header and navigation. Okay, so in this area right here, you want to highlight, as they've done here in bold text, what the transformation is. So over here, even in the starter template, they're already saying best cleaning service, right? But if you're offering something else, maybe you're teaching something, this is where you would tell people what it is that you do, and then provide a description and then a call to action. Okay. Now there are many ways to style a hero section, but this is just one example. And if you've created your content already, you can immediately start seeing how your content can fit into this section, or what customizations we need to make. Then as you scroll down, what you're thinking about is what the next sections will be. Okay, what you're typically looking for is, you're looking for a benefit section, an about us section, a testimonial section, and so on. So when I'm looking at any starter template, I'm already calculating which one of these sections are going to stay and which ones are going to go. Okay, so and I'm also looking at how it's laid out. So I see a lot of 2-column layouts here, which is great. That means I can put my text on one side and put my images on the other side. Okay, and then I'm also looking at how they've laid these out. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, some of these are going to stay. Some of them are maybe redundant, so I may remove them. Here is a section that's more of a almost like a getting started section, or how to get started, where you provide the steps for people to go ahead and engage that business. So this is most likely going to be staying, so it's already in place. And then I really like this section right over here. This is a call to action section that is supported by images. What's great about having the images is that the images draw the eye, and then you have the call to action overlapping it here. Okay, so this looks really great. This may be something we can use. And then there's a pricing package section. So if you're a product or you're a client, or you have pricing for your services, then you already can save some time with this nice pricing table already created for you. Okay, here's another section with some text and images, and then you have a testimonial section. And then here's an opportunity for the site visitor to go ahead and engage by filling out a form on the website. So you have some kind of call to action or some kind of action for them to take at the very bottom of the website. So this already looks like a great starting point for a website. Let's take a look at one more, and then let's go ahead and install one. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to select the free only versions. And this time, let's take a look at this second one. Okay, so here we can see that the hero section is implemented a little bit differently. In this case, it's just with text and no image, and it's centered in the page with a call to action. So here is the promise that they're that it's providing, a little description, okay, and a call to action. And then there's a brief gallery of the work, and here's a call to action. So email us, call us, we're open. We may choose to use this as our benefits section instead, and then a why choose us section here. So I'm more or less looking at the sections. Here's a services section, so where you're offering your solutions, and the process. Here you see the process section again. So step 1, step 2, step 3. So this might be something we may keep, and another section here with an image on the right and some text. And so as you can see, as you're sizing up here's a testimonial section. This looks great with the image in the back and place for me to place my testimonials, and then an engagement section at the bottom. Okay, so already these templates are looking very, very good, and it's just now a matter of customizing and designing them to suit our taste. So let's go ahead and install one. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one, and I think I really liked this best cleaning service one. So we're going to use this one, and from here you can choose to change colors. You can choose to change the fonts. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to leave it as it is, and we'll do everything from the beginning. So the next step here is to just go ahead and install the starter template. Once you've chosen a starter template, scroll down here to the bottom and click on full site. Okay, and go ahead, and we can skip this because I'm already subscribed, and it will begin to install the starter template on your default Kadence theme. Okay, now that our starter template is installed, let's go ahead and see what it looks like on the front end. So you can see the full template has been installed as a full website. Okay, so we have the home page, we have the services page. Okay, there is a services detailed page, an about page, blogs, the appointment page, okay, and a contact page. All right, so we pretty much have everything that we need. The next step now is to go ahead and start customizing this to our taste. Okay, so before we actually start customizing this starter template, we need a client to work with. And I've gone ahead and created a dummy client called CliftonWP Bookkeeping Services. And I've also created some content for the different sections that I need. So I have a hero section, a benefit section, a problem section. There's going to be a solution section, a testimonial section, steps to getting started section, and an about section, a team section, and this will be optional, team or about, and then an offer section of engagement. So basically a newsletter section or an appointment form on that home page. And this is following a very specific framework. So we are taking the site visitor through a specific journey. Okay, and you'll see that materialize as we customize the template. So if we go back to the template, another thing I want to address is typically when you're customizing, you're going to go from top to bottom. So we're going to start with the header by changing the logo and then adjusting our navigation. And then we're going to move through the pages, starting with the home page from top to bottom, and then finally end out with the footer. Okay, so because this is just a test, this is the dummy client, it's not a real client, we're going to go ahead and accept this navigation as the navigation that we'll have. It's pretty similar. So home, services, about, blog, appointment, contact, this is all fine. But if you were doing this for a real client, you would obviously want to have pages that correspond to the pages that they will be having on their website. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start the customization process. So typically what I like to do, the first thing that I like to do is I like to customize the color scheme and the fonts. So we're going to go to customize and then go to colors in the customizer. We're going to select colors, and you can see we already have a palette applied here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this folder here, and you'll see some optional color palettes that come with the Kadence theme. And we can choose any one of these, and you can see it changing on the right hand side there. Okay, now you can have a custom color palette if you want, so each one of these can be changed individually. There are 9 areas that you can change, or you can select one that is already that is a preset. So I'm just going to go ahead and select one, and I want a warmer color. And because we're going to be talking about bookkeeping, I'm going to go with a green scheme. Okay, this looks pretty good. I like the green. Let me also look at the warmer tone here. Oh, I like this as well. So the warm tones look really good. So we're going to go ahead and go with this warm tone. And it doesn't matter. You can pick anyone that best suits you, or whatever the brand colors of your client is. We're going to stick with this brown color. This looks great. Next, I'm going to go to the typography, and I'm going to change the typography to something that I prefer. So move over to typography. The base font, I want the base font to be a sans serif font. That means that the font doesn't have any styling. It's very plain and blockish. So we're going to go ahead and click on system default here. And the one I'm going to use, the Moolish font. Okay, it's a very nice font. All right. And then for our heading fonts, which are these right here, I want a serif font. So that means that the font has some styling in it. And for that one, we're going to go with Playfair Display, which is a pretty nice, elegant font. Okay, so it looks great. And I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and publish my changes. The next thing that I want to do is I also want to change this logo. So we're going to go back, go to header, click on logo, and I'm going to click on remove logo, and then I'm going to select a logo from the computer I have here somewhere. There we go. And we're just using the CliftonWP placeholder logo for now. I'm going to skip cropping, so Kadence will take care of that for me. And now we have our logo in place, and it corresponds with our design. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and publish my changes and exit out. Great. So we've succeeded in changing the color scheme. We've succeeded in also changing our typography. Next, what we're going to do is we're now going to start plugging in our content and actually redesigning the different areas of the site. Okay, so now we're going to proceed with the hero area. And in this area, what we're going to be doing is we're going to change the text information, change the call to action, and we're going to change the image of this. And I'm going to show you how I do it. Now, there's a lot of people that do it different ways, but I'm going to show you how I do it so I can get the best results. So we're going to go over here to edit page to edit this specific home page. All right, now that we're in the editing section of the site, now we can see the Kadence blocks that are used to create this page. Okay, you can also open this up in list view if you want to see all the different row layouts and blocks that are used to build out the pages. Okay, all right, so here's what I like to do. The first thing that I do whenever I come into a starter template is I pick the section that I'm going to work on. So this is the hero section, and I duplicate that section. Okay, so I don't go in and start changing things right away. I like to duplicate the section so I have that original section. So to do that, just go ahead and select the section, and then in the short menu that shows up here, click on the vertical ellipsis and click on duplicate. That will create a double of that section, right? And now we can start working on one of these. And if in case we want to start over, we can always just go back and utilize the one that we created. Okay. All right. Then I also like to do one additional thing. the first thing I like to do is first I make the changes to the actual section itself, and then I create a variation of my own from scratch that kind of looks like that section. And I'll explain what I mean as we move through the tutorial. So let's just go ahead and begin. All right, so we have an image here on the right, and this looks like multiple images. So there are two images actually in this section, and then we have the text on the left. So let's start with the text. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my client content that I have here, and here's my hero section, and here's my heading. So I'm going to just go ahead and grab my heading, and then we can go back, and I'm going to highlight the heading that's already there, and I'm going to replace it with mine. Okay, so I can see how this is plugged in. It's longer than what was there originally, so I'm either going to have to adjust this or adjust the spacing here. But for now, it's just about putting in the content. So let's just go ahead and put in that content. So I have that, and then let me grab a description. Highlight the text, and then we also need that call to action that we have over here. Get bookkeeping help. So for now, we're just adding in the content. We're not changing any design or anything like that. So don't worry about how things look at first. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so now we've added in our content. Next, we need to change the images here. Okay, so I'm going to select the first image that I see, and I'm going to click on replace. I'm going to open up the media library, and I'm going to upload my own images. So I have some images that I want to use, my own pictures. Here we go. And let me just grab all of these, upload, and there might be one more here. Let's grab this one too. Okay. All right, so all my images are uploading, and I just have some. These are random images. Okay, so I will leave a link in the description below so that you can get use of these images yourself if you want to use them and follow along with the tutorial. Okay, so just go ahead and click that link and it'll download for you. All right, so here we are. Let's use this first image. All right, so the idea of using this image is we're a bookkeeping firm. We do bookkeeping for small businesses. So I want to have a small business here, a happy small business. So I don't need this image anymore, right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete that image. You can see here there are some structural things going on with different rows overlaying each other. Don't worry about that. Just go ahead and open up list view. And if I select this image, I can see below this image there's a row layout over here that's overlapping that image. So if you want to add something there, you can. I don't, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that because we don't want that. Okay. All right. I know it doesn't look great right now, but that's okay. Remember, we're just adding our content first, and then we're going to go ahead and design the area. Next, what I want to do is I want to add one more thing. So sometimes with content, it's always good to call out your target market. So, you know, if I'm working with a client, one of the questions I always ask them is, who's your ideal client? Do they have I work with them in creating a client avatar, and then we want to call out that client avatar sometimes, right? So I can put over here, helping small businesses, helping small businesses with expert, simplified, and streamlined bookkeeping services. All right, great. So now I've fully utilized this area. It doesn't look amazing yet, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and start customizing this and cleaning this up a little bit so we can see what our layout looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on update. I'm going to view the front end of the site, and I'm only doing this so I can see what my content looks like. Okay. All right, great. Next, what I need to do now is I need to fully design this and make it look nice. And that's going to be the customizing portion of this tutorial. So let's go ahead and customize the hero section. Okay, so now that we've added our content, let's go ahead and design the area. So let's go back to the editor by clicking on Edit Page in the Admin Toolbar. On the home page, that will take us back to the Gutenberg editor here. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to make this look nice, okay? All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want our text over here to be a little bit smaller. We want our image to be larger. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go ahead and select this section so I can see what's going on in the section. I'm going to move over to the right, go to Advanced, and I can see here that there is a top margin. There's a left margin that's happening as well with it. It doesn't look like there is any padding happening there. So I'm going to select the image and see if there's anything else going on with this image. So now that the image is selected, move over to the right, click on Advanced, and I notice that there is some spacing here on the right for the image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that spacing. Okay, and that makes our image fill out a little bit more. Then I'm going to select the section, just click anywhere here in the section area, move over to the right, go to Advanced, and I'm also going to get rid of the margin at the top there. So zero that out, and let's get rid of the margin on the left. We'll zero that out as well. So now our image is a little bit larger and everything is flush against the container, and that I'm happy with the way that looks. Next, I'm also going to remove the borders that are surrounding this image here. Okay, so I'm going to select that image again, move over to the right, go to Style, and what we're looking for is the border radius. And you can see this has a border radius on the top, bottom, and left of 300 pixels. We're going to go ahead and zero all those out so we can see the full image. We may add a border later on, but first, just for now, I just want to see the full image. Okay, that looks great. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to move over to the left and I want to start working with the text. I'm going to start with the largest text first. Now, this should be your H1 text or your main text on the page, and you want to make sure that it has your keyword, which is the bookkeeping services, in there. So we're going to select this text and move over to the right, and I can see that it has a font size of 72. I'm going to go ahead and cut that down to, let's make it 50 just to see how that looks. Okay, so far that looks actually pretty good. Let's see what it looks like at 44. Okay, 44 also looks pretty good. So we'll start here. And then the line height is a little bit tall, so let's go ahead and change the line height. And I usually will start with the same line height as the text just to see. So I'll go 44 to see how that looks. And with larger text, you can get away with smaller line height. And that actually looks really good, but let's give it a little bit more breathing room. So I'm going to increase this by 6 pixels. So we're going to go 50. All right, and that looks good. There's a little bit more spacing there. Okay, so far it looks good. You want this to be big enough and more prominent than the description, so that it's the first thing that draws the eyes when people look at this area. Okay, so you can see how this looks a lot cleaner now. Looks more professional in terms of utilizing this for a bookkeeping firm. The next thing that I want to do is I'm looking here and I want to make sure that this text right here, helping small businesses with, or you can even say, you can change this to say, we help small businesses with. Okay, and I'm looking and I want to see if I can reduce the spacing here just a little bit. So I'm going to select this text. It's an H6 tag. Move over to the right over here, and let's take a look at the line height. So it doesn't look like it has any line height. So first thing I'm going to do is just change this to pixels, and let's see what happens when I say 0. Okay, nothing happened. Great. Go to Advanced, and the bottom I see that there is no padding, but there is a margin over here. So let's go ahead and zero that out first, see how that looks, and I'm just going to add 5 pixels there so we have some space. All right, that looks a little bit more compact, a lot neater, much better. Next, I want to work with these buttons. Okay, so the buttons, it says get bookkeeping help and view our services. I like it when there are dual calls to action, but sometimes you may want to keep it to one, and I typically like to keep it to just one. That way my site visitor only has one choice. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this second one. We don't need that one. And then I noticed that this is a row layout, and they're using that to keep the width of this because they had two buttons in this starter template. So we don't need that second row anymore. So I'm going to select this row, move over to the right, reduce the columns to 1. Okay, it's going to give me more spacing here for my button. Okay, next I'm going to fix this button. So there's an extra return there. Let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, and now it says get bookkeeping help. And then I want this to be all caps, so it stands out a little bit more. So I'm going to select the text here, move over to the right. Whoops. Move over to the right. Go to Style, Typography Settings, and for the letter case, we're just going to make that all caps. Okay, that is much better. All right, excellent. Now, the other thing that I want to do here is I want to make sure that I still retain the spacing, right? So I'm going to click on Update, and let's go ahead and view the page. Okay, this looks very nice, looks very clean, very simplified. Now, what I want to do is, I feel like this is a little bit too close. Everything here looks really smushed, and I like things to have nice breathing room. So I'm going to increase the padding here. So go back to the editor by clicking on Edit Page. And we're going to click on that row. You can see it's 129 pixels. I'm going to go ahead and click in the area, and I'm going to drag this out. And I'm going to add, let's add another, get it up to 200 pixels. Okay. And then here on the bottom, we're going to extend this to 100 pixels. Okay, great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on Update. And let's view the page. Okay, that looks a lot better. More breathing room. Okay, now the other thing that I want to do is, remember I talked about creating variations. So even though this does look different from what this was before, I'd still like to create some variations just to see if this can look a little bit more dynamic. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit Page. I'm going to select that row, and I'm going to duplicate this row. Okay. And now that I've duplicated the row, I'm now going to play around and see how this will look if I made certain types of changes. So let's talk about the first change. The first change that I want to make is, what would happen if I made this image a lot bigger? Okay, and have it break the layout a little bit. Okay, so to do that, Kadence Blocks Rows has a very special feature that allows you to be able to create this effect. Select the row, and in the short menu, click on the alignment icon and set this to full width. When you set it to full width, it's going to stretch across the screen end to end. Okay, and then you're also going to get some new options with this. So if you look on the right hand side, you'll see over here where it says Content Max Width, and there are 3 options: Inherit Max Width from Theme, Break Left Section to Full Width, and Break Right Section to Full Width. And what that's asking is, do you want the left or right section to break the constrained layout here and move full width while keeping the other column in view or in place? Okay, so I want to break this image on the right to full width. So I'm going to click here, and now it's extended it even more, making the image appear larger. I'm going to click on Update, and we'll view the page. And you'll see now we have a completely different layout. Okay, here's what it looked like when we customized it before. Here's what it looks like now. Okay, so you may prefer this one. I kind of like this. Okay, it looks really nice. You can really see the image very well. So let's go ahead and see if we can make some additional changes to make it even look more dynamic. So let's go ahead and click on Edit Page. I'm now going to select this image, move over to the right, go to Style, and on the top radius, let's go ahead and add 80 pixels to that. All right. And just that little subtle change adds some new design element to it. Looks very nice, very clean. Okay, let's go ahead and click on Update. All right, And so now we have two variations. We have this one, and we also have this one. Let's go ahead and do one more, and then we'll choose. So I'm going to go ahead and select this row again. I'm now going to duplicate this row. So now I have this first one, my second one with the breaking to the full width, and this final one here. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to move over to the right. I'm going to turn off the break right full section, the full width. I'm going to select the image, move over to the right, under style, and here what I'm going to do is on the bottom option for border radius, I'm going to add another 80 pixels to it. Okay. So now we have a curvature at the bottom here, curvature at the top, just making the image look a little nicer. All right. And when we take a look at all three and want to choose which one we like best, any one of them will do, but you can see how it's starting to make the template look not so much like a template anymore. Okay, it's completely different from what we have over here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a decision, and I will choose this one, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of the rest. So that one can go, this one can go, and this is our winner. Click on update. And now we have our new hero section. Other things that we can do over here to actually make this really nice, go ahead and click on edit. And let's just go ahead and highlight bookkeeping. So just drag your mouse across, click on the arrow in the short menu here, and select highlight. And we'll select our highlight color. Click on update and view. All right, now we have a new hero section. Okay, so now that we're done with the hero section, let's go ahead and add in all the other sections by customizing each section one section at a time. Okay, so next what we want to do is we want to go ahead and add the next section, which is going to be the benefits section. Okay, so to do that, just go to edit page. And what I like to do is I like to add 3 benefits underneath the featured area. And sometimes what I do is I'll look through the starter template to see if we already have a nice 3-column row that already does this. And if it doesn't, then that means we have to add one, which is great because it'll add more originality to our template. Okay, so it doesn't have one, so we're going to go ahead and add one. So looking down here, I no longer need this. I'm completely comfortable removing this section here. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and delete it. And then on our actual hero section here, I'm going to select that one. And in the short menu that appears, I'm going to click on add after, which is going to add a new block row for me. Below it, I'm going to do a / and I want the row layout. Okay, I'm going to select a 3-column row layout for my 3 benefits. And I'm going to highlight that section, move over here to the right, open up the settings, and under the style for that row layout here, I'm going to change the background color to our subtle background color. Okay, so now that I have it as a subtle background color, I'm going to make one additional change to my hero section here. So I notice that there is a background overlay, and it looks like there's an image in there already, and it's creating some kind of a clash with my benefits section. So I want to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and select that hero section row, move over to the right, go to style, and then I'm going to scroll down to our background overlay settings where I can now see that image, and I'm going to go ahead and remove that image. Okay, so that's going to give me a much more smoother flow between the colors for the top here and the bottom. And you can play around with this color. So right now, the actual background color is our second light color here. You can make it completely white if you want to create more contrast, which actually looks pretty good. Or you can just make it more of a subtle color change there, which I'm going to go ahead and keep that. All right, so let's go ahead and click on update. All right, and now we can go ahead and add our benefits. Now there's a number of ways to do this. You can do this with individual blocks, so I can add heading blocks if I want, using the advanced text block from Kadence, or I can add these using the info box blocks. Okay, so let's do this using the info box blocks to create those sections. That way we can have an icon, a heading area, and an optional content area as well. Okay, so to do that, just go ahead and click on the plus sign, and we're going to do a search for info box. Here's the Kadence info box, select it. And what's going to happen here is we're going to customize one and then duplicate it across the other columns. So I'm going to go ahead and select this info box, move over to here to the right, and I'll start making my changes. So the first change that I want to do is I want to get rid of the background that I'm seeing there. So move over to the right, and here where it says style, you're going to see the container settings, and you're going to click on the background color here, and we're going to, this last number here, just go ahead and zero that out. That'll now give us a transparent background, so it flows right through and adopts the background of the row behind it. Okay. Next, what we're going to do here is we're going to start configuring the elements inside of the info box. So I'm going to move over to the right. Let's close out the container settings, and I'm going to open up the media settings. The media settings contains the icon and the settings for that icon. So right now it's aligned to the top. I actually want this aligned left, and I want the size to be 24 pixels, so not so big. Or maybe 28 pixels is fine. Yeah, 28 pixels. Okay. And I also want the color to be my my highlight colors. So under the icon color here, I'm going to select the color that it comes with, which is a darker color, and we're going to make that our highlight color. Okay. Great. Awesome. Then next, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to close out my media settings, and I'm going to go back to the general tab here. What I want is I want all the content to actually be floated to the left. So I'm going to go to the, align to the left. So I'm going to select the general tab here, and where it has the content alignment, I'm going to go ahead and click on the align text to left. I'm going to go back to style, go to my media settings, and I want to move my icon to be aligned with the top text there, the heading text. So here where it says media vertical align, it's set to middle by default. Set that to top. All right, excellent. Now we can go ahead and start customizing the elements on the inside. So for the title settings, I would love for this title to be a little bit smaller. So if I select the medium size, that's too small. The large size is too big. So let's go ahead and do a custom size. So click on this icon right here for setting up the custom size. It's now at 32. I would like this to be at 28. Same as the icon. Okay, and so far that looks great. Okay, I think, yes, I'm happy with how everything looks there right now. Okay, so next what I want to do now is I want to add my actual content inside of it. Okay, and here there are a number of choices that you have. You can just have just the title and the icon with the benefit, or you can have a little bit of a description. So let's see how it looks with the title and the description. So I'm going to move over to my content over here. Here's my benefits section, and we have save time and reduce stress. Okay, everything fits. And then I'm going to move back here to my content again and delegate. So just grab the description. Okay, so that actually looks pretty nice. I like the way that looks. Now the other thing I want to see is if I constrain this to be boxed. So using the theme content inner width, how does that look? Okay, so it looks, you know, more smushed this way. So I believe I liked it better when it was full width. So what we're going to do is going to set that back and just open this up. And then let's adjust a few things here with this info box. I'm going to select the info box here. I'm going to move over to the right, go to advanced. And what I want to do is I want to eliminate the extra padding. all around. I'm also going to go to Style, go to the Media Settings, and for the icon, I noticed that there's some padding around that icon, and then there's also some margin around it as well. So let's go ahead and get rid of the right margin and the left margin. Okay, looks good. And then over here, all right, that looks good. And now let's see if we reduce this again. Okay, so it's operating a little bit better. I like this a little bit better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and reduce the size of the title over here. So move over to the right. Let's close out the media settings, open up title settings, and let's bring this down to 24. Okay, now that looks great. Okay, so we could still retain our title and our description and not have it look too overcrowded. Okay, so loving the way this looks. Now what we need to do is let's go ahead and duplicate this across and then add the other benefits. So I'm going to click on the info box, click on the options, and I'm going to click on duplicate, and I'll repeat that again. And then I'm just going to drag one over to the second column and drag another over to the second column. Okay. All right, this looks good so far. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by choosing to either just have a title, or if you would like to have the title and the description. So let's move over to the right, and let's grab improve financial decision making. So that looks a little long, but let's see how that would work in here. Okay, so it kind of breaks the layout there. That's okay, we'll address that later. And then the last one, ensure compliance and avoid mistakes. Okay. All right. So you can see now that when we added these in here, okay, this broke to the next line, and this also broke to the next line. So we have a few choices that we can make here. We can reduce the text to fit, because I want to keep everything kind of aligned well here. We're going to reduce the text to fit, or we can expand this to be a fuller layout. So let's go ahead and let's just make the decision to make the text fit, and I'll show you how we can do that and still have it look very nice. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to change this here. I'm going to select the select this info box, move over to the right, go to Style, and we're going to look at title settings, and we're going to reduce this to 20 pixels. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my media settings, and my icon, I'm going to change my icon to 20 pixels as well. Okay, and then I'm going to take what I've done here. So select this info box, click on copy styles, select the second info box, click on paste styles, select the third one, click on the icon again, select paste styles. All right, so this is looking a lot better. Next, what I want to do is I want to use some textual styling here. So let's change the and to an ampersand, and let's change this to an ampersand. Okay. All right, and now everything fits and still looks nice and legible. Okay. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and click on update, and now our benefits section is done. At this point, one thing that you can choose to do, so let's view this on the front page. One thing you can choose to do is you can choose to just check out your responsiveness, how it looks on the responsive device. What we're going to be doing, or what I typically do, is I just finish out the entire page completely, and then I go back and I make everything more responsive and check out the responsive nature of the site. The other thing that I promised to show you is I wanted to show you what it could look like if you didn't have the description. So let's go ahead and click on Edit Page. Okay. Sometimes you can actually have it look a lot neater if you don't have the descriptions in here. So I'm going to select the info box, move over to the right, click on Style, go to text settings, and I'm going to turn off the text settings there. Move to the next one, style, turn off text, and the final one, turn off the text. Okay. So sometimes this can look a lot neater, right? And then in this case, I'm going to select the item, go over to the right, and we're going to content align everything to the center. Actually, no, leave everything as it is, excuse me. Leave everything as it is. No need to content align. Click on update. And if you're looking at it and going, well, okay, that conveys the message very cleanly as well. Save time and reduce stress, improve financial decision making, and ensure compliance and avoid mistakes. Perfect. You don't need any further description beyond that. And I think I prefer this layout better. It just looks a lot neater. So I'm going to click on edit page and just make a few tweaks here because I'm noticing that my icons are not lining up with they're not lining up with the titles here. So the issue may be that the media has that padding on the top. So I'm going to unlock this, remove the top padding, and set it to 5 pixels. Click on update, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy the style of that info box, select the next info box, and click on the copy paste icon, paste that style, repeat the process for the other one as well. Okay, click on update, view the page, and everything now looks great. Okay, so awesome. We've now added our benefits section. Next, what we need to do is go ahead and add our problem section. Okay, so the next section that we're going to build out here is going to be our problem section. And this part should be really simple and easy. It's just a title, a description, and a list, and then a call to action. So I'm going to come over here back to my starter template. And in this very next section, we can go ahead and place our content there. Okay, so all we need is an image and some of the text. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit page. That'll take me to the editor. Scroll down, and let's just go ahead and place our relational statement and place it there. And we won't need this one, so we can go ahead and delete that. And we also don't need this here, so let's delete that as well. Great. And then we're going to place our text here. So, okay. Next, we want to add a list over here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this list. So first we have a title for the list. So I'm going to hit enter. And / text, we're going to use the advanced text block from Kadence. I'm going to paste that in, and maybe I'll set this to an H3 and then go ahead and reduce the size. All right, and then now we can add our list. So I like to do the list block from Kadence. So if we do a / and start typing in list, you'll see the icon list from Kadence. Just go ahead and click on it. And then we can go ahead and add our items. Okay, once we've added the items, we can go ahead and style this list block. So I'm going to select the list block, move over to the right, select the view parent block settings. I'm going to click on the icon, and we're going to just search for close. It's going to give me this square box here. I'm going to go ahead and change the icon color to the highlight color. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that extra row, extra column. Okay, awesome. So now we've gone ahead and added our problem section. Next, we want to add an image here to support what's happening on this section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image, click on replace, open the media library, and just find a nice image that would make sense there. So here's the image, and that looks pretty good. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. So to do that, just select the row below there and click on delete. That will remove that. This looks really long. Since this looks so long, it would be nice if we didn't have so much text for such a little image. Okay, so we can absolutely change this, and this is one of those situations where you can decide to completely redo this section. So let me show you how I would do it. I would go ahead and add a row before, do a / type row layout, and I would get a 1 column row. Okay, now this 1 column row will be my parent row, and I would go ahead and then add a section here. So click on the plus sign, and this is going to give me a section container. And this section container, I'm going to reduce the max width for this section container. I'm going to reduce that to 700 pixels. Okay, so it brings it in for me a little bit. Maybe let's make it 750 pixels. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate this out. So I'm going to select this text, place it within that new section I created. I'm going to go ahead and center the text, and then select the outer row, and let's just increase this to 3x. And then I'm also going to select this text here, and I'm going to move it directly underneath there. I'm going to go ahead and center the text, and now I've created a different layout from the layout that was there before. So now we have the problem section has been extended. We have our problem statement. This helps us relate to our ideal client. So the other thing that you can also choose to do is you can also choose to align these to the middle, and that gives us a little bit more balance to that layout. Okay, and that section is now completed. Next, we're going to move over to the solution section. So this is where we basically show how we're going to solve the problems for our client. Okay, so moving on to the next section, which is going to be our solution section. We're just going to use this section right here. So this is going to be our services and solutions section. So all we need to do is change the title to reflect our solution. Whoops. So let's go back and grab that text. This is going to be the heading right here. So you see, we're not making that much change to the actual section itself. We're utilizing what's there and then adding our content in it. Okay, and let's grab that other piece of content. Okay, we're not going to be using this list, so we can delete that. And then we're going to outline our solutions. So just go ahead and hit enter. And we're going to do an info box. Okay, go ahead and configure the box. I'm going to move this to the right. Go over to the right. Excuse me. For the info box, go to Style and Media Settings. We're going to set the media to the left, the icon to the left, and then align it to the top. And then we're also going to set all the text to navigate left, to align left, excuse me. Back to Style, go to our icon. This will be 20 pixels. We will make this a check, solid check mark, and apply our highlight color. Okay, and then our title settings, we're going to set this to custom. Let's go with 20 pixels. Okay, and then if we remember our media here, we have some padding over there. So let's open this up, set this to 5 pixels so it lines up well. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and remove some of the padding here. So a lot of padding. So scroll back up onto this info box settings under container settings, excuse me, not container settings, under the advanced tab. I'm going to go ahead and reduce padding to nothing. So just set it all the way to 0. Then the other thing that we want to do also is want to create some spacing. So we'll add a margin like so. And now we can go ahead and add our content. Okay, now that our content is all in, so these are all our services and our solutions. Let's also change this to, say, schedule an appointment. Okay, and we want the typography on this to be all caps. Okay, and this section is now set up. So now the next thing that we need to do here is we want to make sure that the image that is in this section reflects something about our services. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and change this image. So I'm going to select this section, move over to the right, click on Style, Edit Image, and we will use this picture. And then for the section here, what I want to do, go to Advanced, and I'm going to remove all this padding, and I'm also going to remove this margin, set everything to 0, and then make sure that my row over here, go to Advanced, make sure that the structure settings allow that the inner column height is at 100%. Okay, so when you select your row, go to Advanced, Structure Settings, set this to 100% so that it can take up the full height of the row there. Then the other thing that I'm going to do as well is I'm going to add a spacer in this section for when we go responsive. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, select spacer, and I want to draw the spacer out as tall as it can go. So there we go, right there, about 784. I'm going to remove the divider, and so this will fill the space. And then when we do the responsive editing, I'll go ahead and tailor this so that it's responsive as well. Okay, go ahead and click on Update, and let's view the page so far. So here we have our featured area, our problem section, and then our services are listed here. A nice image on the right, and the services listed neatly on the left. And just a quick recap of this services section. So all we did is when you go to that section, a couple settings you want to make sure you have in place to create this effect. One, you want to make sure that the row has a full width alignment setting. So that's what I've done over here. When you do that, over here on the right hand side, you'll get the content max width options. And that content max width options allow me to break the right section to full width so that it goes full width without expanding the entire row. So this goes from screen edge to screen edge on the right side. And then under Advanced, under this specific row, just make sure that the structure settings are set that the inner column height is 100%. That's going to reveal the image in the background of the section. And then I also placed a spacer to occupy the space inside of that section. And so that the culminating effect of that is having this effect where you have the left side contained inside of the inner content width, and you have the right side breaking through that and going all the way to the edge of the screen. Okay. All right. Next, let's go ahead and customize our next section. Okay. So the next section is going to be our testimonial section. We have 3 testimonials. So I'm going to move over here to back to our design here, and we need a testimonial section. So there is a testimonial section within this starter template, and I like the way the testimonials are laid out, but I'm not a big fan of the way the general container is. So we're going to take elements of this and create our own. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up here, and we are going to add a new row right after our services row or our solutions row. So I'm going to click at the bottom row here, select the vertical ellipsis, click on Add Before to create a new block line. I'm going to do a / and a row layout, and I'm going to do a 1-column row. Okay, so this is going to be my outermost row here. Then within this row, I'm going to do a +, and I'm going to add a section. Once I've added the section, I'm going to move over to the right. Under the content max width option for this section, I'm going to set this to 750 pixels. That's going to bring it in for me. And then I'm going to click on the + and add a text block from Kadence, which is the advanced text block. And we're going to call this our testimonials. Okay. Move this to the center. And then right beneath that, I'm going to add some paragraph text. So again, the advanced text block, change this to a paragraph, center it, and add some text. Okay, so now that looks good. Next, I'm going to select the actual section itself, or actually, let's open this up in list view so I can select that section. And then right after that section, I'm going to click another, I'm going to add another block line so that it's outside of the section, but inside of the general row. And in this block line, I'm going to do a /, a row layout, and we have 3 testimonials. So we're going to do 3 columns. Okay, let's close that out. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and add our testimonials. And I'm just going to make this very easy. I'm going to slide down here to the testimonial section within the actual template itself. And I'm going to select that testimonial, just one of them. And then I'm going to copy it. Scroll up. Click inside of the first column. Add a paragraph block text. Do a Command V or Control V if you're using PC. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that process for each column. And that's just going to add my testimonials in a nice 3-column grid. I'm going to add some padding here. So 3x large is the one we're going with. So it's uniform. And then I'm also going to bring the row in using the theme's inner content width. Okay. And let's also create some space here between the section and that row. So some bottom spacing. A bit more. Okay. Excellent. And believe it or not, this is really all you need. So now all we need to do is just replace the content of our testimonials with these testimonials with our own testimonials and the pictures and so on, and we are done with our testimonial section. Nice and neat. However, if you feel like you want to add some more style to it, you absolutely can. You can just select the section, move over to the right, go to the background color, and add a subtle background color there. Okay, and then from here, do the same thing with all the other sections. And that will highlight the testimonials a little bit more. The other thing you can do is if you want to elevate the icon a little bit more so that it overlaps the section area here, it's very easy to do. Just go ahead and select the icon, click on the vertical ellipsis, click on add after. That's going to put a space right there. Then go ahead and do a / and type section. That will add a section there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the icon and I'm going to drag it right into that section. Okay, so now it's inside of a section container. I can now take advantage of the margin and padding options that are available there. So I'm going to go ahead and select that section here in list view. And then I'm going to move over to the right, go to advanced, and under the margin, we're going to go ahead and change this to be a custom margin. And we're going to do negative, let's do 20 pixels. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and select this section here. And I'm going to click on copy. I'm going to select the next icon and do a Command V. Select the next icon and a Command V. And it pastes everything there for me. Close it out. And now this looks even more styled than it did before. Okay, and go ahead and click on update, and let's view it on the front end. Okay, and that looks great. So our testimonial section is now done. Next, we're going to move over to the next part, which is going to be the getting started section. So if we go back to our layout here, we'll see that there is a getting started section already in place. So this template actually has one, and it has the getting started process in 1, 2, 3 steps. So we can go ahead and take this over and just plug in our own content. So this will be very easy. and very quick. So here's what we need to do. Let's go here to edit page. Then you'll scroll down and find an area. So here's an area we're not really using, so we can go ahead and delete that. Testimonials are great. And here's the getting started portion. So I'm just simply going to transfer my content into this area, and then I'll make some adjustments to these images. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll grab the title. And we'll change this to how to get started. Put some text here. All right. And then it's just a matter of changing the images. So select this image, replace, and we'll pick that photo. Just basically putting more appropriate photos that relate to your actual business. And so now let's talk about this styling here. So if we look at the rest of the website, a lot of our images, we have a little bit of styling here. And if you want to keep this sort of styling theme going, we absolutely can. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing this. But since we have more straight edges and maybe one curved edge here, it would be good to follow that same theme. So I'm going to go ahead and select this image. I'm going to move over to the right, and I'm going to go to the style, and under the border here where it has 400, I'm just going to go ahead and zero all this out so I can see what space I have to work with. Okay, so I like that. And then maybe what I would do is at that top margin there, we could just go ahead and make that 50 pixels like that. And then we'll just have that be our style. So I'm going to go ahead and select the image, click on the copy styles, select the next image, click on the copy styles icon in the short menu, and click on paste styles so that everything looks the same. Okay, so that looks a lot better. And then now we just basically populate the rest of our content into the 1, 2, 3 steps. So we already have our own 1, 2, 3 steps here. So it's schedule a consultation, receive your customized plan, and let us handle the numbers. All right, and our section here, which is our getting started section, is now complete. I'm going to go ahead and delete this testimonial section because we've already created one up above. And right now the website is looking phenomenal. The home page is looking great. So let's click on update and let's go ahead and take a look. So as you can see, customizing the template with a little bit of planning is actually very, very straightforward, very easy. And we haven't really changed much on the template other than some of the sections that we recreated. But this looks really good. Okay, so here we are now at this call to action portion. You always want to have a call to action. So here's the call to action. It's already in place here. So we're going to leave this in place, and then it's just a matter of changing these images to better fit your theme. We're going to go ahead and just change all these to our business owner photos, and we have a lot of them. So there's one there. And the way I'm doing this is I'm just selecting the image, clicking on replace, open media library, selecting the image that I want, and select another image. And you just repeat that process. We haven't used. Okay. And that is done. So, and then we can just change this button to say, get started. Go to style, typography, and we're going to make this all caps. Excellent. So now this is done. Next, we're going to go ahead and add the final call to action section, or the offer section right below this, and this will be done. Okay, so on this template, we have this pricing for our services, and we're not going to leave this on the home page. So we want to take this out, but also keep in mind that this section over here is a part of this lower row. So if you delete this row, so let's go ahead and delete the row so I can show you what happens. It will remove our call to action and only our images will remain. Okay, so to undo that, just go ahead and click on the undo arrow here and it'll come right back. Okay, so what we want to do is we actually just want to delete this content in here. So I'm going to select this here, this row. I'm going to select the pricing table row. And there is another instance of this pricing table row within the site. So don't worry about deleting it. Just go ahead and remove it. Okay. And that way we can retain our call to action section right over here. And then everything can just kind of flow right into this next section over here. So this section, we can actually use this as a brief about section for the client. And so let's go ahead and do that. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color. Okay, so I want this to be white. I'm going to select this row, go to style, background color, and we'll make that white. And then I'm going to select our call to action row, go to style, and we'll change this color to subtle. Okay. And then next, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to add my about the firm content right below it. Okay. And what we can do here even is we can, so there's a subtle blue color. You can see that right there. It's very subtle. Let's go ahead and change that to white. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and add the content for the firm. So we'll start with the image. So here we have a row, which is inside of a section. And then there are two images. So this is a 2-column row, it looks like. And there are two images. And then we have this call out here with the happy client. So we don't want any of this stuff. So let's just go ahead and select the entire row and click delete. Okay, so we can have the section to ourselves. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image. So click on the plus sign. And we're going to search for advanced image, which is going to give us the Kadence image. I'm going to go ahead and select. Click on select the image, and we're going to go ahead and upload an image of maybe what the team looks like. Okay, so let's just drag one in. Okay, and here's a nice image. Okay, and then let's just add a little bit of styling. So we'll go to style, and I'm just going to add a border radius to it of 50. And that's plenty. Okay, and then who we are, I have some content for that. So you would just basically place your own content in there. So I'm just going to grab the mission here. Okay, and plug that in. And yeah, we can leave the more details as is. Okay, so, and this will be sort of the about section, who we are. And then it excerpts and goes into the main about page. Okay, and then here at the bottom of the site, we have a choice. So you can leave this as is, right? And have it be a way for people to engage and request an appointment for this bookkeeping firm. Or we could also change it into a newsletter download. For the purpose of this tutorial, it really doesn't matter because it's not a real client. So it's going to depend on what that client wants. So in this case, let's leave it as a lead generation section. And the people can go ahead and make an appointment if they get down to the final end of the page, as that may be more valuable to the client. So it depends on what's more valuable to the client. Do they want to grow their list, or do they want people to actually book an appointment? Now, you can also configure the form, and we will look at that in another tutorial on how to configure the advanced form to simultaneously send an email notification to the business owner and also give an option for the user to be added to their newsletter list as well. Okay, so with that, all that remains to be done then is to go ahead and change this background image from a cleaning image to a bookkeeping or business type image. So I'm going to select the image for this row, move over to the right, go to style, and we're going to click on edit image. And let's just find a decent image that would make sense back there. Here's one I really like. Let's add it in. Okay. And believe it or not, we are done with the configuration and customization of the home page. Okay, so if we go from top to bottom, we can see now we have the featured hero section, the benefits section, the relating section or the problem section, and then the solutions section. There's a testimonials section. There's a getting started section. There's a call to action, and there's the about. And here is the booking section of the page. Now we just need to do some housekeeping, which will be fixing anything that's off with the template. So here I notice there's a logo missing. We're also going to need to check it out on mobile devices to make sure that it is responsive. Then we may take a look at some of the inner pages, and then this tutorial will be done. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some quick fixes and then get into the responsive editing portion of the tutorial. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to add my logo here in the footer area. Now to customize the footer, you can go to the customizer, and then if you click on footer, it'll open up this footer tray here, which controls all the items and elements inside of the footer. And if you look at this one, you'll see that it's actually a widget. So the best place to actually make an edit to a widget is not in the customizer, it's actually in the WP admin dashboard. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and exit the customizer, hover over the website title in the admin toolbar, scroll down to widgets. Here in the widgets area, what you're looking for is footer 1, and you'll see here that there's supposed to be an image here, but it's no longer appearing. So let's go ahead and delete this. Click on the plus sign. We're going to select image, advanced image from Kadence blocks, select an image, and then we'll select our logo. We'll give it a width of 175 pixels. Click on update. And now when we visit the front end of the website and scroll down, we'll see now that we have our logo in place. Okay. The other thing that we can do also is we can also change the credit here. So you can go to customize and go to footer. And you'll see over here the copyright. Go ahead and click on the cogwheel for the settings. And here you'll see the codes that generate the footer text that you see here. Okay, so we can go ahead and absolutely change this to something else. So I can say by CliftonWP, or you put your name there. Okay, and then we can also change the size, change the design, anything that you want to do, but this looks fine for now. So let's go ahead and just publish that. And then the other thing that I want to do is here in the header, we have this get a price. I want to change that language there. So let's go back to the first part of the customizer, click on header. And then in the header editor here, we're going to go ahead and select the cogwheel for the button. And we're going to change this to schedule an appointment. Okay. All right. And that looks good. And I think I'm going to also change the design there because it's got this loop happening here, this border radius happening there. So let's go to design, scroll down. Right under the border, you'll see the border radius. And on the right, we're just going to make that 30 pixels as well. Okay. And click publish. All right. Okay, so now everything should look great on desktop. The next step now is to go ahead and check it out on mobile. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go ahead and right click anywhere on the screen in Chrome, select inspect. That should open up your Chrome developer tool, which is right over here. And if you select the icon here for toggling the device toolbar, it will toggle over a device. And then over here, you can kind of see the dimensions for an iPhone or a tablet, Surface, or any other sizes that exist. Okay, so let's start with the iPad mini, which is a tablet, and see how that looks. Okay, so over here you can see we have some text. Everything is centered. We have our button, which is not centered, so we'll fix that. And then we'll also have to address this image. We'll have to address this row. This looks fine. And just kind of look through so that you can see how things are appearing, right? So we want to make sure this looks good on every device. So I can see several areas here where we'll need to go ahead and make some adjustments. Not too many areas, but I can see them, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and look at it on a cell phone. So let's pick the iPhone 12. Let's see how that looks. Okay. And I'll make that a little bigger. Okay, so on the iPhone 12, okay, text is a little big, but that's okay. This is centered nicely. The image looks great. Okay, so it looks better on the mobile phone. We'll have to take care of this image too. Testimonials look fine. So on the mobile phone it looks good, okay, but we'll still make some tweaks to make sure that everything looks great. All right, so let's go ahead and close out of the inspector tool, and then let's now start doing our mobile responsive editing. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the mobile editing for this page. So we kind of went through the page, we built out all these different sections. We really didn't address the mobile editing and how it's going to look on different screens. Now, typically out of the box, Kadence is already mobile responsive, but sometimes when you build out new sections, you do need to go in and make sure that everything is displaying correctly on your mobile devices. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit Page. And just like we did when we first started, we're going to go from top to bottom. So I'm going to start with the hero area, the hero section here. And I'm going to move over to the right. And I'm going to click on the tablet icon to see how this looks on a tablet. So on the tablet, everything here looks pretty good. This is all coming from the template already. So this was already mobile optimized, but we're just going to check against the things that we created as well. So this looks good. Everything is nicely centered. The image looks fantastic, nicely centered. But over here, you'll notice that this looks a little bit jumbled and smushed together. So I'm going to select this row, move over to the right, and I'm going to go ahead and collapse the layout. Now that I've collapsed the layout, I'm also noticing that everything is flush to the left. These are all info boxes, right? So if I select this info box, move over here to the right, make sure that I have the tablet icon selected. If I go ahead and content align this to the center, you'll notice that it doesn't move to the center, okay? And that's because we have this media icon, it's aligned to the left, okay? So we're gonna have to change that. So I'm gonna keep the info box selected, move over to the right, go to Style, go to Media Settings, and I'm going to change the media alignment to top. And that's going to go ahead and center everything for me. And then I'm going to copy this style while I'm in tablet mode and select the other options. And you can actually select them both. Whoops. Select this one. That one. Oh, it's selecting everything. Okay, you know what? And then you're just going to go ahead and select. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and select the next info box, and I'm going to go ahead and paste the style and do the same thing for the third one. Okay, so that looks good. And then I'm going to keep scrolling down. I'm just going to check to make sure that everything looks correct. And it does look good. Everything is aligned to the center very nicely. Okay, our image here is showing up very well. Now, if for whatever reason in your case, you find that this is not set up correctly yet, so I believe this was at 783. It was pretty big on the desktop. So it may come out looking like that. It's very easy. Just go ahead and reduce it. Just drag the spacer down until you're at a comfortable size. So that will be anything under 100. Okay, and it will look great. All right, and scroll down. Our testimonials look good. And here, this looks good. Although I do think this is a lot of spacing here, so maybe what we can do is we can reduce the spacing a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and select the image, move over to the right, go to Advanced, and maybe we can reduce this to, let's reduce it by 20 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and unify this and make it 60 pixels all around. Okay, that's going to increase my image a little bit, make it a little bit more prominent. And then I'm going to select the image, copy this style, and then apply it to the other images. Okay. All right. And then our gallery here looks really good, and this all looks great. I'm going to add a line height here, so move over to the right, and this font size should be 24 pixels. Let's see how it looks at 28 pixels. Okay, that looks good. And then my line height will make this 34. Okay. All right, that looks good. And then here, this looks good as well. I think I would like to keep that same motif here. So I'm going to copy this style and paste it here. There we go. And I'll just leave that the way that it is. Okay, that looks good. Then we also want to look at it on a mobile device. So just go ahead and click on the mobile icon or the cell phone icon here. And let's scroll back up to the top. Okay, this looks good. Looks good. Typically, if you take care of it well in the tablet view, then the mobile view also looks really good as well. But it's always good to double check. Okay, so over here, this looks a little bit out of place, a little bit too big and too much space. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that style from before. That looks better. Fits better on the phone. And this is fine. Same thing here. Okay. All right, that looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and update this. View the page. And then let's look at it on our inspector. So right click, click on Inspect in Chrome to open up the Chrome Developer Tool, and I can see it now on an iPhone. And that does look good. You can also check it directly on your device just to be sure. All right, and then let's also look at it on a tablet. Very nice and very pleasant. Okay, I am happy with it. And so you may be asking yourself, what about the inner pages? Well, all you would need to do is for every inner page, same thing, you should have your content already prepared. And based on that content, you should just add that content to the inner pages. When we made the change to the color scheme and the typography, that change extended throughout the site, right? So the site essentially will look different, and then you can go ahead and organize your content within each page as you see fit, using some of the techniques that I showed you while doing it on the home page, which is basically to create new sections where needed, use the sections that exist where necessary, and then delete any sections that you're not using, okay, accordingly. And by the time you go through each page, then you should have a completely set up website where you started with a Kadence Starter Template that looked like this. Okay, so this is how it looked, and now looks like this. Okay. All right, and with that, that will conclude our tutorial on how to build and customize a website, starting with a Kadence Starter Template as your starting point. Hey, if you liked this tutorial, please go ahead and smash that like button for the algorithm, and also leave me any comments in the comment section below. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you like videos like this, please go ahead and subscribe, and remember to hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time I release a new video. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate your time and your views, and I look forward to creating more tutorials for you on Kadence and other phenomenal WordPress tools. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.